Yo, it's Basketball Samuel, and today we are here for part two of the rewatch of the Portland State slash Oregon University series. So I'm gonna watch episode 3 and 4 today. Hopefully, I can get all through it. So yeah, Sure. Wait, let me get this. Uh, yes.
People like to hear themselves reconfirmed, and so people don't want to hear your guys' discussions because they're like, oh, I want to be confirmed in my opinion, even if I don't have backing or evidence against my decision or my policy. I'm still not going to talk to you guys. I don't want to be proven wrong.
Kids aren't getting puberty blockers. What is not happening that
I'm not putting myself on this platform. You guys are idiot losers.
Well,
Goodbye.
you just put yourself on.
You're the one inserting yourself into the platform.
Is that the best argument you can marshal?
Again.
What's going on, everyone? James Klug here today. We are at University of Oregon, and we are going to be attempting to talk to students about how children cannot consent to puberty blockers. Now, I'm joined here by the amazing Billboard Chris and Peter Bogosian. Gentlemen, are you guys ready to go talk to some people?
I'm ready to rock it. Let's do it.
Never been more ready.
Let's go talk to some people. Huge shout out to our friends over at Tej Hanley for sponsoring this video. Is this that controversial of a thing to say? I mean, that children, 10-year-olds cannot,
It's that basic.
I just don't necessarily agree with that.
No, I don't even know what that means.
You don't even know what that means.
You can think what you think. They can think what it doesn't matter. It really doesn't matter.
Incredibly reasonable position to have when it comes to people having different opinions. Okay.
I agree with that.
You agree with that?
Yeah.
That we shouldn't do that to kids, or we should?
I think that you shouldn't be with your body like that until you're an adult.
Yeah.
It seems like a pretty fair stance.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Keep it up.
Thank you.
I mean, I feel like denying trans people life-saving care is a kind of rude thing to do.
Life-saving care?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so denying trans people their life-saving care is a rude thing to do.
Do you think it saves kids' lives to stop their bodies from going through puberty?
I think it does.
How come?
Because there's studies showing that, like, people who transition, who are pre-transitioning. How do I explain this?
It's okay. Take your time. No pressure.
Hey, what's up?
Children cannot consent to puberty blockers. Well, why do you think they can't?
Well, because they're 10 years old. I mean, they still believe in Santa Claus and the Easter Bunny and the Tooth Fairy. And we're giving them an experimental drug, which has never been approved for this purpose. It's actually a cancer drug that was approved for prostate cancer, for endometriosis in women. Same drug has been given to pedophiles to chemically castrate them because it takes their testosterone to zero. They give them a drug. It's normally a drug called Lupron, and it stops their bodies from going into puberty. So girls' breasts won't grow, their hips don't get wider, boys' penises don't grow. It affects their bone density. It affects all sorts of things. But we're stopping the physical development of children. Based on what? Based on a belief that because they don't conform to society's standards of how they should stereotypically be according to their sex, that this therefore means they are born in the wrong body. What does that even mean?
Well, it
that's
just has to do with your identity and who you are. You know, isn't like the.
So what does that mean, though?
What do you mean? Like the whole point of being who you are isn't like part of what our country stands for.
Do you think there's a right or a wrong answer to that question?
I don't think so. I think that sometimes it all depends on your stance. It depends on how your life is going. I guess we're all living our own separate life.
There's a conversation.
I like the perspective of what he's saying. Like, he's not fully on one side. He's more neutral. It's like, it depends on the situation. And I respect that. I respect that not being extremely on one side or extremely on the other side, just more neutral.
how your life is going at like 10 years old?
I don't know. It's such everything is kind of controversial nowadays, so it's like it's hard to talk about things.
Yeah.
What does it mean? Be who?
Yeah, I don't know. I know Portland states like 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 they stuff is whack, but I don't know if it's Oregon that their stuff is whack too. I don't know.
You are.
You be what you want to be. Be what your identity tells you to do. Be what your mind wants to
I mean,
be.
you know, and I think a lot of people would understand that if you were talking about adults. You are talking about children here. Children can't just go out and get tattoos. They can't go drink. They can't go, you know, hook up with an older adult. They can't even go see rated R movies. But we're talking about irreversible procedures that they can do.
They're sterilizing kids. They're
So
cutting
aren't
off the
there,
body
aren't there
parts of
rules for
children.
children?
Well, yeah, I would say that there are definitely rules that protect them.
Okay,
for sure.
Okay, so we got that going.
Yeah,
Like these kids, for the boys in particular, the president of the World Professional Association for Transgender Health, these are the people who write the standards of care for the gender clinics.
Yeah.
He admits in a video, his name's Marcy Bowers, that literally 0 of these boys as adults have been able to have an orgasm. We're turning these kids into anorgasmic, lifelong medical patients, sterilized, and calling this love and inclusion, when we know historically from all the academic studies that have ever been done into this condition called gender dysphoria. That's what this is called, when these kids feel a mismatch between their sex and their inner gender identity. It's called gender dysphoria. We know historically that if you just let kids go through puberty, more than 80% of the time they just grow out of it. They don't even know what sex is. How can they possibly consent to throwing away adult sexual function, to sterilizing themselves, to not having a family? They're 10, 11, 12.
Well, yeah, I can understand that.
Yeah.
What are your thoughts about what he's saying?
You know, excuse my language, but I actually think it's crazy. I didn't know any about this. I didn't know anything about it. It just came out the way right now, the way everything is happening. I just think it's kind of crazy because a lot of things happen in this world that just don't make sense. But I've never heard too much about this until right now.
All right, everyone, let's take
from someone who could someone whose first hearing is pretty crazy. I'm not even gonna lie. Like it's extremely extremely crazy to hear that, because that's like information he got, which factual evidence is showing that this thing is bad. And it is a bad thing because you're basically just taking children's just having a family away.
Jump back into the video. What's going on? Would you like to participate?
Not necessarily. Are you having a conversation with him disagreeing?
No, he agrees, of course, because he's a sane human being.
Okay. Just to give you a heads up.
So she's come here to tell you that you shouldn't talk to me, because what's going on in America today is illiberal people like this woman here think that you shouldn't be allowed to have a conversation about child harm. So she's come here to tell you, to make sure that you're feeling safe. She doesn't even believe that you can possibly agree that we shouldn't be mutilating children, because she thinks it's totally fine to mutilate and sterilize children. And she's come here to tell you that you shouldn't be talking to me because I'm spreading.
Oh, are you actually trying to shut down the conversation?
I was just wanting to say that oftentimes when organizations have cameras, they usually edit videos in a way that it may not be favorable to you.
So it is true.
So it is true. You're coming over here to shut down conversation.
Yeah, it is true. So why don't you just be honest and say it's true?
Oh, I just don't want to contribute money to an organization that profits off of social media engagement.
Oh, I'm not an organization. I'm just a person having conversations.
I would argue what's happening here is much more important than being a more authoritarian stance of shutting down conversation on a place that actually open dialogue should be encouraged. So I would say what you're doing here is much worse than having a conversation in public. It's incredibly dishonest.
We don't want him to talk to people.
Yeah. If you disagree with this, you can let us know, and you can join the conversation, or you can let somebody else actually.
Yeah, she is kind of like trying to stop the conversation. Not gonna lie. The approach of both of them is kind of off, because I know these who's have already been through a whole university trying to get at them, trying to stop the conversations. Portland State, for example. So they kind of more, more attention on this, but also the fact that yes, that some organizations do edit it in a way, but it's like also the fact that it is like also the fact that it is they will do it um if it's more to their benefit. He's helping. He's he's giving them good answers. He's giving them good answers. Give not really anything that he's going. So it's not really anything. Just him giving his opinion and learn about it. He's learning about the stuff that they're talking about. He's not being crazy or saying crazy things. He's just being him. He's just talking.
Exercise their freedom of speech.
How would you define
And then
open
trying to stop the
dialogue?
conversation.
Open dialogue is allowing you to speak your mind. If you want to give us your opinion on this and have a conversation with us, that's excellent. And we're going to have a respectful conversation, no personal attacks, and definitely no shutting down of somebody else's voice,
And
especially interrupting him to shut down the conversation.
Do you think we should be sterilizing kids though? What about kids with autism? Because half these kids have autism who are going.
Damn, half these kids have autism that they doing it to. That's crazy. That's fucked up. That's actually fucked up. Like kids that have autism. I'm sorry. That is fucked up.
I don't know. It's hard because.
What is hard about that question?
It's hard about
Well, yeah,
It's I think, and I could get it from his point. He doesn't want to. I don't know if it's a similar thing to how the students were at Portland State, but he doesn't want it his opinion to hurt his what do you call it, his chances of getting a good grade or staying in the school or his reputation if the school wide thing is against what they're saying, which I don't know. I don't know yet, but there's a possibility, or at least a lot of students.
You know, and there's no tricks here. Like, what is hard about what he's saying there?
Meet your next pillow.
You've probably seen our ad before.
Why do we make our pillow in the shape of a cube? I'll tell you.
We started small, but went pro.
What do you consider a kid? Just
emphasis on the
under
first
18?
word.
Yeah.
Under 18?
Yes.
Yeah,
Like
let's
a 12.
use 12.
Let's say a 12-year-old.
Say like
12?
some.
I mean, they're children, so I
Correct.
don't know.
They're
It's
just
hard.
little.
It's hard to put a number on what you could do. You know?
Okay.
Because like 18, you're an adult and you
right.
can
But
do
that's
whatever
not
you
what
want.
he's saying.
Right.
Yeah, 18, you're an adult.
Yeah, they
you know.
start kids on puberty blockers at like 10, 11, 12.
There are studies showing that children who are unable to transition, and keep in mind, most of the time they're not being given hormones at 13. They're given puberty blockers to stop them from going through what they feel is the wrong puberty.
I'm not even gonna lie. It doesn't. It's a natural thing. Like, so it's not really a thing that is really given to you. Like, it's not really something that you had to make the choice of. It's a natural, natural thing. So why care? Why worry? It's not like you are sitting here. You are what is it called? You have a choice in it, or you think it's the wrong thing. And half the time, I'm not even gonna lie, it could be like it could be just straight up it could be just like a phase. Not gonna cap.
And their experience it. I don't want to have this conversation. I'm
No,
going
no,
to-
no. You're
Okay.
getting onto something. You want him to take it, or
I mean, I'm going to be late to class.
Great,
That
you
you
did
can
great.
come here and tell people not to talk. You don't find that to be a problem.
Did I say you couldn't talk?
No, but think about what you said and how dishonest it was.
I didn't say that exact thing. I was just trying to shut down the
I feel
conversation.
like I asked a question.
Nah, it was a disingenuous.
Yeah, it was
looking
just
to shut.
And what she did fucking work because the guy just walked off.
Down
You
conversation and
went
get him
over to
away
him.
from
Now,
having a
but if you
conversation.
want to talk about that, we will
actually what
engage
you're
you in good
I'm sorry
faith.
that you feel that way.
No,
It's
what
not
you're
about
doing.
anybody feeling it. That's what you're doing.
It's the way, and she did approach him in a way that like she could have been like, okay, I want to add something to this conversation, or she could have waited. But the way she approached, and then the stuff that she said to respond, made it seem like she was trying to stop the conversation, which she did.
So I wanted to ask you, are you comfortable if I ask you about your dissertation work? That's not a rhetorical question. That's a serious question.
Yeah, I'm gonna move away from this. You can entertain her if you'd like.
There's no the body positive message we should be sending is that there's no right way to be a boy or a girl,
Okay, I can understand that.
right?
Yeah.
I
everyone
can
gets that.
understand
So can we possibly get you to jump on over to saying that this should be something for when your brain is a little bit more developed? Your prefrontal cortex, your decision-making part of your brain is more developed instead of 10 years old?
I just think it's a hard thing for me to say because I'm not part of
Sure.
that situation. I do think I'm all for the rights of transgender people, and no matter what you are,
We're all for the rights of
I
all
understand
people.
that. I understand that 10 years old can be a little young, and maybe you should have more of a developed brain.
I think with situations as serious as medical drugs, hormones, procedures on children, I think we should be able to have conversations about this. Just calm, fact-based, rational conversations, because there's nothing more important than our kids. So if you want to take some time to think about it and come back, you'd be more than welcome. I really appreciate it.
Absolutely. Is that cool?
I mean, like as I speak from personal experience, I'm trans.
Okay.
I'm transmasculine. Most people wouldn't think it looking at me. I've been on testosterone for 5 months as of Saturday. I feel so much happier with myself. And I started shortly after. I'm about to turn 19.
Okay.
I started December of last year.
Mhm.
But I knew I didn't start hormones until I was an adult. But I knew that I was not a cis woman by the time I was in middle school.
Okay, that doesn't mean nothing. It doesn't. And if you're feeling the same way as an adult, that just means you were a more masculine woman. That doesn't mean nothing. It basically means nothing in the grand schemes of your gender, your body, nothing. It's just how you are. You are a more masculine woman, or were a masculine woman before you decide to transition. That doesn't mean nothing. It could mean you like things that boys do, like sports or working in the mines or stuff like that. It's not really something you have to change your body for. It's more or less something that is you. It doesn't mean nothing. It doesn't mean, and I'm not saying it doesn't matter. I'm saying it's more. It doesn't mean you have to change your body. You have to do all of these hormone treatments. Doesn't mean nothing. It doesn't. There's Here's the thing. If you're a more masculine woman, that doesn't mean nothing. It doesn't. There's a there's probably a decent amount of guys who would like a masculine woman. And for the guys who are more feminine, there's probably a decent amount of girls that would like a feminine guy. So it doesn't matter.
What that means to know that you're not a cis woman? I understand the jargon, but what does it mean to know that you're not a girl?
I felt uncomfortable with the labels of femininity being
Okay.
pushed on me. And, I think in the recent years, there's been a lot more ability to verbalize that kind of stuff. I mean, when I was in middle
Yeah, I understand. Like you didn't feel comfortable with it, then you should express that more. You should express that more, and you should. Okay, obviously back then might not be right, especially with the outfit, with the chances of you just going through a phase. But if it's an ongoing thing, then just embrace it. Just embrace that you worry more. You don't like the feminine stuff, like all that. Just embrace it. Don't don't try to change yourself. Be be yourself.
Middle school, that was 2016 for me. We weren't having all these sorts of conversations.
Right.
My
Yeah.
partner is not trans, but they're
Non-binary.
non-binary,
Okay.
and
Okay.
so they thought about going on hormone blockers to cancel out some female traits. Back in middle school, they were having the thoughts of more dressing more masculine and stuff.
Okay.
So what if they wanted to get on? Their parents aren't very good parents. They kicked them out the house and left them on the
Mm.
street. So what?
So
How
that's
about
bad parenting. That's bad parenting. Not gonna lie.
that?
That's
What if
that,
the parent?
that's low key something that needs to be put in with like court, because it matters the age. But like, if it's like a young kid getting kicked out, oh yeah, that's gotta be some sort of that gotta be something against the law. Not gonna cap.
Parents aren't involved in their own life.
So
Do
I'm
they
very,
have their own choice?
I'm very glad you brought that up.
Yeah.
Because what we find almost invariably
Great question, by the
is that these kids have suffered trauma.
Okay.
And that's trauma.
Mhm.
And
Yeah.
so your partner should have been treated, and I hope they are still maybe getting treated for this trauma. But what happens in so many cases is these traumatized or abused children are just getting puberty blocking drugs, cross-sex hormones, as though that's the source of their problems.
That might not.
Not the trauma.
Yeah. Is it really? And I'm going to use an example from one of the videos I reacted to, and I'm going to use one of the examples, even though it's an animation video, it's completely fake. But this girl who want to have children in her life lost her child and can't have a child no more. So they are like, and then like and then like he's like all depressed. So like a lot of children, especially when they get old, they will want to have a family. This stops them from having a family, like completely. So what's the point? What's the point? Like, get some therapy.
That's not going to do anything to fix the trauma.
It might even make
We
it
need
worse.
to address that and let these kids grow up
Or
and take care of these other mental health problems, abuse, trauma. That's not controversial. It shouldn't be. But instead, we're treating gender as though it's the source of all their problems and it'll solve everything.
and then like this whole switching gender shit doesn't make any sense. Not gonna lie. Not gonna lie. It's not a choice to be a man. It's not a choice to be a woman. It's what you were given at birth. That's what you're born with. No matter what you can say, no matter what sort of ideology you think you are, you were born as what you were born as. And that's how you should treat yourself.
Everything, and that doesn't work.
Yeah. So do you think that they, like, as a child, if they wanted to, they could get it? And then if it's a bad choice later in life, they would understand and maybe change back?
I
know
don't
it
think
would-
that
it-
I don't even know if that works for real. Cause it's already like a permanent damage, right? I guess
there'd be some consequences with like.
What do you think the consequences would be?
Yeah.
you know, if they decide if they're not non-binary but they want to be transgender, and they have to go through further evaluation to see if they want to be, you know, go through a
Like
process.
physical though, consequences though.
Yeah,
Like
physical
what?
consequences.
So historically, most kids with gender dysphoria, which is how we should always frame this.
I do not care. I actually don't care. No, I don't care.
Most of them grow up and out of it.
Yeah.
The cure for
Yeah.
gender dysphoria in almost all cases is puberty itself. Now we block the cure. So I don't think children are mature enough, cognitively developed enough. Our prefrontal cortex, the part of our brain responsible for logical decision making, keeps developing until we're about 25.
Yeah.
So I don't think a 12, 13, 15-year-old is competent to make decisions about their own sterilization, about destroying their future adult sexual function, because that happens to the boys especially.
Do
To
you
not
think,
being able to have a family.
But what about
Do you? Well, really quick. Do you think that they're capable of making that decision that he's talking about?
That's
right
just
there?
their decision. It's just their decision. I don't think they're you know, there can always be doubt.
So children just make the decision about what else do they make the decision
You
about?
don't let them take drugs, right?
No, but they can. They can if they'd like to.
In Oregon right now, they're about to pass a law where any 15-year-old can get gender surgery, even.
Oh my god. What? Any fit? No, bro. No surgery. Surgery. Oh, dude. Oh my god, bro. This Oregon is on one for that. That is crazy. Who?
Without parental approval.
Yeah.
Without the parents. Come on, that's crazy, dog. Like actually, like that's stupid. That's why Portland State is so bad. That's why Oregon is probably bad. I'm not going to Oregon. Like that's why he decided to leave, bro. In the world, bro.
Be
The
that
state
easy.
is on one.
Well,
Just with what he's saying right there. Should it be that easy?
I'm not sure if it should be that easy, but I do think ultimately it should be up to the choice of the child.
Is that, do you hold that viewpoint for every other aspect of childhood when it comes to tattoos?
I want to say that.
Why would you not say that? With like, let's say tattoos, would you say?
I don't know. I guess it's just I had to think about that.
Okay.
That's a fair
That's fair.
Yeah, we don't want to put you on the. You know, we're talking about new concept information, so it's just great to have an open mind to think about this.
Yeah.
And really, what we want to achieve here is to start conversations.
I don't know is a great answer.
Yeah,
It's always a
Right,
good
and
answer.
that's why
100%.
everyone's responding that way, because like you're at least saying, hey, you know what, I don't know,
Open
I
to
can think about
consider it,
that,
think
and,
about it,
and
right,
that is absolutely okay.
If I may share, I have someone in my family who's young, who has a tattoo, who tattooed herself. You know, I don't know what they call it, the prison tat kind of thing.
Stick and poke.
Stick and poke, yeah, that's what it is. And she,
I don't have one.
she regrets having done that. And so she regrets having done that. It's reasonable to assume that if you're young and you make decisions that have permanent consequences, that they may regret other decisions that they've had.
Yeah.
Now, as you get older,
Yeah.
that becomes quite different because your brain, your frontal lobe is formed, and your decision-making process ideally would be more refined.
Did you thought something he was saying was funny? Do you mind if I ask you? And I'll get back to you.
The
Okay?
tattoo, like him relating the tattoo to like the gender stuff. That was, I don't know, that was kind of funny. Because
Why was that funny?
Because it's a tattoo. It lasts forever. Like we all have, but like, how are you gonna compare a tattoo to like puberty blockers?
It's permanent. There's something permanent on your body. It's permanent to your body. You can never. Okay, you can get it removed. It's just very expensive. This stuff is permanent, and it has worse effects.
You can't.
For a profit.
Yeah, so that's why I was laughing, because it didn't really make sense when you were saying it.
Yeah.
Which one is more permanent, would you say?
I mean, obviously the puberty blockers.
Right.
You can get this removed.
Right.
Yeah,
Yeah,
it's,
right.
Like it's not that hard.
James, I think.
that was
you
my
guys are
question.
just sick, disgusting trash. I'm not gonna humor you.
You're humoring us right now.
The fuck?
All right. Yeah, that's
wow. That's
great.
I thought I saw you guys on the beach.
Is that the best argument that you can make? Is that the best reason you can give?
How so?
How
Yeah.
so?
All right.
Isn't a
No,
key
he
point of
doesn't.
fascism shutting
How's it going,
down
man?
open debate?
Good to meet you.
Huh?
Hey, how you doing?
Good. I support what you guys are
What's
doing,
up, man?
especially on this campus. Y'all are brave.
So
That's
this
their
is a
thing.
thing going on in society today where more and more adults are giving children agency over all of their decisions.
Mhm.
But it's neglecting this most fundamental truth, which is that children need parents
Yeah, that's
for a
no
reason.
doubt.
And they
Yeah.
cannot make all these decisions because of the very fact that they're children.
Would you have the same like opinion about, let's say, a 15-year-old girl was like, hey, you know what? I actually want, let's say, liposuction for, maybe they're anorexic or something. You want to affirm them, you get them liposuction, or let's say you get them lip filler, or let's say you get some other body modification. Children should be able to make that decision. Is that correct?
Is this like? Are you guys trying to do like law based? Like, are you trying to like make it like where the parents have the decision to allow them?
And this is not their opinion, but this is mine. I think it should be illegal no matter what. Like, parents can't do it to their child. The children can't do it to themselves. So I'm just saying it should be. This is my opinion. I don't know what this is, but my opinion, it should be illegal for everyone under 18. In my extreme opinion, it should be illegal for everyone. Like, it should be banned for everyone.
I guess we would be more talking about like what should be allowed
Really, I'm just
under law.
talking
but
philosophically about the whole thing.
It's a moral claim.
it's a moral claim. It's a,
Now-
yeah.
And from that, the legal stuff flows.
Yeah, and ideally, I would like the medical bodies, the American Academy of Pediatrics, to conduct a systematic review
Mhm.
because they're not listening to their own doctors within their body. There's, I think, something like there's a few 100,000 pediatricians, part of the AAP,
Mhm.
and a lot of the doctors are asking them to do a review, and they won't. And other medical bodies around the world have, and they found that there's no evidence to support this. But this whole subject of giving agency to children, we would never say a 13-year-old can consent to sex with a 40-year-old
Mhm.
because they just can't.
Mhm.
They don't understand what they're signing up for.
Yeah.
But we say they can consent to changing their sex.
I understand where you're coming
You know?
from. Yeah.
Like, if you talk to most 20-year-old women and you say, hey, do you want to have kids? They go, no way. Fast forward 10 years, they're 30 years old, and the ultimatum for the husband is babies or divorce, because now they want kids. We change. We change from 10 to 15, 15 to 20, 20 to 30 drastically. You're about 20 years old.
Yeah.
Are you different than when you were 10?
Oh yeah, for sure.
And what sort of wisdom did you have when you were 10?
I wouldn't say a whole lot.
Not a whole lot. Your job has been going to school and learning your timetables. And most kids at 10 don't even know their timetables. But now we're asking them to be able to consent to lifelong medical decisions and becoming a lifelong pharmaceutical patient as well. Because what happens to these kids is they have to rely on external sources of hormones for the rest of their life. These
What?
girls are getting hysterectomies. They're getting their ovaries cut out as well. Now they can't even produce estrogen if they want to. So if they,
Damn.
at 25 years of age, at the ripe old age of 25, if they decided they've made a mistake, they've lost their womb. They've lost their ovaries. They can't produce estrogen. So now they're buying some exogenous source of estrogen for the rest of their life. For these boys who get these surgeries done, these vaginoplasties they're called, they have to dilate for the rest of their life and take
Oh.
estrogen. These are not the kids who are thriving. These aren't the college quarterbacks and the cheerleaders and whatever. These are kids who are struggling in life. They're kids in foster care. They're kids with autism. Their parents are 10 times as likely to have been sex offenders statistically. And now we just fast track them into this medical pathway without any FDA approval for any of it. It's just all ideological. And again, it goes back to this basic philosophy of you were born in the wrong body because you don't conform to stereotypes.
Do you learn about
Yeah,
this in your
that's-
classes?
Like, that shit doesn't make sense, right? It doesn't make sense to me.
Are the ones I'm taking.
But there are options at the university where you can be able to learn about
And
things.
do you hear about it on campus? You guys hear about it on campus in other ways to a certain extent, or no?
I think to a certain extent. I
Okay.
mean, not like all the time. I mean, maybe if you go like looking for it, but it's not hard to find. I mean, we go to the U of O. We're like let's be real. Like we're pretty. How do you call it? Like
Pretty left leaning.
yeah, we're pretty left university, I feel.
So they kind of might have a little bit of a negative, like the university might have a little negative, like annotation, a negative feeling towards what they are trying to put out.
Man, how's it going?
Yeah, I'm just a big fan, so
Oh,
thank you guys for doing all
yeah,
that.
thank
I
you.
appreciate
Cool,
Do you mind if I
thank
get
you.
a photo? We're doing the black camera.
You want to have a
You
conversation?
want to have a conversation about it and explain yourself?
It's just so interesting.
I don't give a fucking by it. I wouldn't care if I was one. I'm not even gonna
That
lie.
people will
I
say,
wouldn't.
"Get a life, losers,
Yeah.
f- you, fascists," but the same people
No.
won't
Talk.
present their argument.
They won't, because they don't have one. That's the thing. They won't have. They don't have one, son. They don't. It's just emotions. They see something that offends them. They want to go out and act like dummies. That's stupid. They want to go off their emotions. I think I said it in the last one. Twitter fingers. Twitter fingers in real life. Soft.
It's fascinating. He's calling us fascists, but yet he's involved.
Die, you f***ing rednecks. Why don't you quit being such a waste of oxygen?
Oh, you were the same person that ran away.
Why don't you present
You
your
want to have a
argument? We'll
conversation?
listen to
Just
what you
about
have to
your
say.
information?
Because I'm not going to give a platform to you f***ing Nazis. Why don't you go home?
You can't explain
and
your
quit being
position?
such f***ing losers. My position is I care about human rights and I care about people living their lives and minding their own business and not being in my face with stupid cameras. So,
But you walked over here.
We
get
can,
out of
You walked over there.
we can bring down the volume a little bit.
Well, I don't care. I
We're
am
gonna be
trying to make a
respectful to you.
scene because you guys
Can I
care
ask
about
you a couple
genociding
questions?
trans people.
That's
no
not it.
you're not
Genociding?
gonna-
What
Do you think it's
what
okay to
constitutes a
sterilize
genocide?
children?
What are you talking about?
None of this is actually happening. You guys are
Really?
dumb.
I mean,
Cherry
kids,
picking.
kids aren't getting puberty blockers. What is not happening that
I'm
he's
not putting
claiming?
myself on this platform. You guys are idiot losers.
Well, you
Goodbye.
just put yourself on.
You're the one inserting yourself.
You just
into the
sorry.
platform.
You fucking grabbed the kid. You grabbed the damn microphone and screamed into it. Dumb.
Is that the best argument you can marshal?
It is. The best one.
I don't know how many
Soft.
people will be convinced.
He said that's not happening.
Right.
So this is the case with almost all these people. They don't believe these things are happening because they've done no research. They've only heard this surface level thing that this is about human rights and we need to let people be who they really are. They don't believe surgeries are happening on kids.
They don't believe surgeries, and
They don't believe they're getting sterilized. They don't know anything about it. They think I'm making stuff up.
So the problem with not wanting to have a conversation is you have to just guess what they think. That's the problem with not having a conversation.
What do you think when you're seeing this? We're getting some pushback, but not much.
I mean, yeah. I mean, most people are pretty open to this discussion and civil dialogue here.
That's
I mean,
good.
you're gonna have some people on a little more on the left and even on the far right here, but as long as you keep a pretty good civil dialogue, I mean, there's really nothing wrong with it.
So you're a political science major, and do issues of gender ever come up in your classes?
I mean, yes, less so than most people would think, especially at this kind of university. I mean, this whole idea of like gender construct and the fight over like, puberty blockers, trans and LGBTQ rights within schools are relatively new.
When it comes to this debate at all, are you at all open about your opinions on this on campus? And
Yeah,
if
I'm
so,
definitely
is it
open about it. Yeah.
well received?
Yeah, I definitely believe sexual education. For example, people will say don't say gay bill, but it's really just a bill that introduced in Florida that kind of limits, sexual teaching or teaching about gender.
Parental rights and education.
Yeah, basically, I think when it comes to like introducing like gender or sexuality, that's something that should be really taught towards people going through puberty. I mean, we
Yeah.
have sex ed in middle school, and I think that's a good time to teach it. I don't like seeing like 5-year-olds or even people in kindergarten, first grade being taught this because these people don't even know what sex is. They're not able to understand sexual attraction at that time. That's way too young.
I'm going to change the subject if that's okay. What year are you in?
I'm in my final year.
Oh, okay. So you're a seasoned political scientist.
I would say I'm pretty good at political science myself.
Okay, so let me ask you a question. So we were just called fascists, and I was wondering.
Okay.
I want to take advantage of his expertise. What does that mean that he's a Is this what?
so
Can you
it's-
explain that?
Yeah,
using
so
your
as
expertise.
that kid was walking away, he yelled, "You guys are a fascist!" Not
Yeah.
even mentioned. I was like, clearly he does not know the definition of fascism. Fascism is silencing political opponents or silencing political debate.
Well, he just basically he he just basically said the people who are calling you fascist are actually fascists because they're trying to silence you. So you are who you're trying to throw out. You're basically calling someone a fascist, even though you're technically being a fascist. Don't.
If this person's over here yelling at you all saying, you guys can't be on campus, get off our campus, we don't want to hear what you have to say, that's more fascist than someone saying, hey, I want to have open civil dialogue. This right here is a clear example of a political right, political discussion. This is something that's protected within our Constitution and it should be protected and encouraged on campuses.
So when he's screaming at us that he's a fascist and we need to get off campus, is it reasonable to say that he's the fascist or he's supporting the fascist ideology?
I mean, by definition, he was a little more fascist than you guys. Fascist ideology is trying to silence political opponents.
On, he's basically just exposed everyone. Portland State, Oregon.
Like
Crazy,
I understand your guys' point.
They're
Like,
little. My 11-year-old, I'm not sure. Maybe she still believes in Santa Claus. She's just little. She's tiny. She doesn't know any adult stuff. And now, if someone were to indoctrinate her to think that she's a boy just because maybe she's more masculine, and give her this experimental drug that would stop her body from developing, for the first time in human history, we're doing this to kids. Kids have been growing up for 200,000 years on this planet that humans have been in existence. And whether you believe in God or evolution, this makes no sense. Because if you believe in God, this ideology teaches that God made us wrong. And if you believe in evolution, this ideology is essentially saying that a billion years of the process of natural selection has failed. And for the first time in human history, we need a pharmaceutical company to help our children be who they really are. We've been going through puberty for millennia.
It's all stupid. That's the thing. Like,
yeah, without killing
no
ourselves.
sense.
But now a lot of these young people think that puberty is a medical condition, and you can go through the wrong puberty just because your body's developing.
Oh,
this is cult-like thinking.
This is stupid.
And at its base, this ideology.
This is crackhead thinking.
Ideology is a lie because there's no right way to be a boy or girl.
No,
but this ideology teaches that stereotypes determine what your gender is, instead of saying, "Be gender nonconforming." Beautiful. What's wrong with that?
You guys, I'm going to do him a favor.
Yeah.
He's trying to get to class.
Okay.
Yeah.
Thank you for talking to us.
Hey, I respect.
Children know a lot better than we give them credit for.
Okay. Well, I know you got to go to class. I really appreciate you taking the time to talk. I wish nothing but love and a long, fulfilling, happy life for you. And I thank you for taking the time to talk. We're going to be here in an hour if you want to continue it. But I think the most important thing out of all of this is that we should be able to have civil dialogue about this issue because it is a very important one. So I just really want to thank you for having it. What do you think is driving that behavior?
Yeah, that's a great question.
Yeah, it's a good question.
Okay,
it's not isolated.
Yeah,
This is very
especially
common.
among this generation, we've seen an introduction. I mean, we're the first generation that's completely raised within a digital age.
Yeah.
We have a crazy influence when it comes to social media.
Yes.
And I think social media has contributed to a very strong mental illness incline in this nation,
Yes.
along with psychoactive drugs, which are a very, very dangerous thing that's being introduced to our kids.
Yes.
And so I think there's been more political divide amongst social media that creates an ideology where like it's one side versus our side. So a lot of these people see the right as the wrong side. And if you're on the right, you see the left as the wrong side. We have kind of lost this middle ground in our nation. So this divide just keeps getting wider and wider. Yeah. And it also contributes to like mainstream media. I mean, we don't really have, down the line mainstream media is relatively available. Right. We have leftist media, right?
We have
right
echo
media.
chambers.
Exactly. And people like to hear themselves reconfirmed. And so people don't want to hear, your guys' discussions because they're like, oh, I want to be confirmed in my opinion, even if I don't have backing or a good, evidence against my decision or my policy. I'm still not going to talk to you guys. I don't want to be proven wrong.
Do you think this is a left versus right issue?
That's a great question.
I think it is a human issue. I don't think there should be any left or right issues. I feel like all as Americans, we're all trying to do the best and live a pretty prosperous.
Speaking of this left and right shit, this shit makes no sense. I don't know the left and right shit, but like, I guess it's like the views shit, but like, I don't fucking know, bro. Like, it's weird to me. Like, it's weird to me.
Life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. Those we all want, and I believe.
Life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. I think that's a text from from the early days of America, right? I think life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. I remember that from A Push, bro. Hey, that's a smart way. He described what we
There should be
mean.
no left or right on that. It should just be those issues.
Yeah.
Do you need to call? Do I need to campus police? Do I need to call campus police?
No.
Okay, take your bike and get out of here.
Yeah,
There
you
go.
need to get out of here. What? Get the off campus. When we're ready. When we're ready.
I tell you this, bro. On I tell you this, cause, bro, these people crazy, bro. Like actually, like psycho, and it makes no sense to me, especially as someone who is like, this is not a good look for these colleges, bro. I need so this is part 4, the final episode. Dang. Well, final episode.
Do you think a 10-year-old can consent to throwing away adult sexual function?
Like, what do you want me to say to that?
The truth?
What you think?
It depends on the 10-year-old.
It depends.
Okay. We start. No, it does not. God damn, y'all.
Depends on the 10-year-old.
Depends on the person.
The
Oh
fuck?
my gosh.
Wants sex.
And not if by one. Everybody, he wants to, and I know everybody doesn't want to destroy their sex life because no matter the fuck what.
What?
Get the off campus.
When we're ready. When we're ready.
Whiny motherfuckers.
Huge shout out to our friends over at iTarget for sponsoring this video.
So I have a question for you. Let's take the example of a child who has maybe 3 other coexisting mental health comorbidities.
Okay.
Maybe this child has autism. Maybe they have depression, anxiety. Maybe they've been sexually abused. Maybe there's an eating disorder. This is the case for a lot of these kids who show up to the gender clinics. Do you think it's appropriate that we go straight away to blocking their puberty when they have these other things going on? Or to hormones as well? Because these kids are getting cross-sex hormones oftentimes on their very first appointments. And even as young as 13, it does depend on the doctor and the jurisdiction and everything, but they're giving testosterone to 13-year-old girls all over the country. Should we do that, or should we be first looking into other mental health comorbidities?
I'd love to see your studies on that.
Yeah.
Okay.
I would love if you can show me that children all across the world are being
Absolutely. I can send you whatever you would like. If you want to give me your email, or you can reach out to me through Twitter.
Hi, do you have any idea that recording people in a public area puts a lot of people at risk? You realize there are a lot of students here who might not want their family to be able to see
They don't
them.
have to talk to us.
You are recording us in a public area.
Coming up, you're literally
You're
in the
walking.
shot.
You're in the. You're walking up. Like, here's the thing. Like, the people walking by, they probably can't give a fuck. They can't because they're not engaging. And you probably would not know who's a person 100%, or at least notice them. By just them walking by you like a 2-second, for like a few seconds in the background. It doesn't matter. It doesn't. But when you come up to the camera like that and talking to people, engaging with the people, no matter if it's negative or positive, they can recognize you. People that know you might recognize you.
The EMU, that is the union.
Yeah.
That is the student union.
All
You're
right.
also going to get people on video who do not necessarily want to be on video. I am a lot more
If
comfortable.
you guys don't want to have a conversation on camera or anything, we don't need to have the
I'm
conversation.
a lot more comfortable being on video because I'm already known in the community for doing stuff. There are videos of me out there. I don't particularly care. However, there are people that you are catching on video that might not want to be.
And they don't need to hop in our video
Yeah,
and
they
talk
don't.
to
They
us.
don't. No one's forced to
are not
talk.
stopping the video with all. Have you asked every single
right.
one of these
Here's-
people in
here's-
the
They
background?
walking by. They not caring. They're not caring. That's the thing. They're walking by. They're walking, going to class or going to lunch or wherever they want to go. Getting from point A to point B, and they just walking by. If they were really, really so harped on the fact that they are interviewing a person with a camera out, then they will walk behind the camera. They will walk behind. They will try to walk out the camp. They won't be in the frame. They won't want to be in the frame. They will take a different route. They would change their route slightly. They will walk behind the cameraman. It doesn't matter. It's not like they're secretly recording. Man is holding the camera. I think he got a camera too, like his phone camera. So it's not like
Do you want to have a conversation, or
Can
are
I
we just
address
trying to
that quickly?
shut down the conversation?
Let me just address that. So this is a public space, and there is no expectation of privacy in a public space. I understand that you don't like it.
Okay, now you're just walking through it. That's what I'm talking about. You can see the motherfucker's face.
understand you don't like it, but guess what? That's okay. You don't have to like it.
So you say that people who could possibly be harassed
Who's
by
harassing anybody?
you realize people here.
You see this man? He got a whole camera, a backpack, a camera. You could tell that he's probably got either record or got the audio for it because he got that stuff on. So, what you do when you approach it, and you see the camera is pointed that way, and you don't want to be on camera? You walk behind the man. You walk behind it, not through it, not in the background, nothing like that. Walk behind the cameraman.
I'm sorry, you think that no one in this entire university has maybe a restraining order, has people who don't,
Maybe not. Who fucking knows? If actually, if they have a restraining order on them, I'm not gonna cap. They probably won't be it wouldn't be in the university, right? They won't be going to the university, cause I think the university will go through your crime record, right? They will go through your police records, or at least check on your police records. Or if they hear something in the police about one of their students having a restraining order, they might not allow their children to go to school there. Right? Dummy.
want to see.
We're wasting our time talking about this
How
right
did
now.
the conversation go? We're having a conversation with you. How did it go to filming? Why are you taking it off of the subject? She was just talking.
I don't care.
The practice today
Oh
is
my.
to simply affirm a child. If a girl says she's really a boy on the inside, whatever that means, they go to these gender clinics, these children's hospitals, and they're given a drug. It's never been approved for this purpose, but it stops their bodies going into puberty. It actually stops girls from producing estrogen and boys from producing testosterone. So without those hormones, their natural secondary sex characteristics don't develop. So girls' breasts won't grow, boys' penises don't grow, girls' hips don't get wider. They're losing bone density when their bones should be getting stronger. Then they're given the opposite sex's hormones. So girls get testosterone, they grow beards, they get a deep voice. That causes vaginal and uterine atrophy. They have to get hysterectomies. These drugs and hormones combined are sterilizing kids, causing permanent, irreversible damage that they cannot undo.
And I'm going to go back to this top part right here. We're talking about children.
Yeah.
All right.
It doesn't matter what you think. We're going to keep filming. So if you're unhappy about it, that's okay. You can be unhappy. Thank
If
you.
you're unhappy about it, go. Walk out. Get going, son.
Saying you want to talk about children can't consent to this, to do this. You think that we can't consent to
no touching, no
Bro, what is you like
touching.
we can't consent to transition, but we can consent to being recorded without our consent.
What is your argument? We want to hear it.
Well, one, children are so you say children cannot consent to being put on puberty blockers.
That's right.
what are your opinions on the fact that in all of the laws prohibiting children from being put on puberty blockers, there are explicitly exceptions put in those laws about intersex children?
Yeah.
So you think that children can't be put on puberty blockers unless they're intersex?
No, it should be all children. All children should be, no matter what. At this, my opinion. This is what I'm saying. I said this like 20 minutes ago. All children, no matter sex, gender, whatever they are, all children under the age of 18 cannot consent. A parent can't do anything about it. Can't allow it. With none of that. Like it is with smoking, drinking. With smoking, drinking, guns, the military, all that stuff. Should be the same thing with the puberty blockers, the trans surgeries, whatever the fuck it is.
No, it's not what I'm saying. Do you want to have a nuanced conversation here?
People are medically transitioning intersex children against their will at birth.
First of all, this has nothing to do with.
No,
different conversation.
Do I get to speak?
What's with that?
Okay, you asked me a question.
Let me
Would you
look
like
at something. .7%. At 1.7%. And that's of population of intersex trait. And approximately actually, it's more precise. 0.018. 0.018% of people are intersex. And that's being precise. Out of 100 people, 1 to 2 are intersex. So you're not talking about a lot of people. You're not talking about a lot. You're not. You're not talking about a lot. Barely one, like between 0 and 1%. So it doesn't even matter.
Can answer?
Yes.
This isn't about children born with disorders of sexual development. That's not why I'm here. Those children make up 0.018% of the population.
That's the same stats I just read off to y'all.
It's got nothing to do with what I'm talking about. I'm talking about children who don't have these conditions, who have been deceived to believe that they were born in the wrong body just because they don't conform to sexist aggressive stereotypes.
Okay.
Yeah, that's what we talk about. Okay, now it's also disrespectful fun. Now we in the middle of a conversation and you the one who's been the most engaging. Y'all two's the one who's been trying to change the narrative. And both of y'all are on your phones scrolling through whatever, not paying attention.
This isn't about intersex. I'm not going to go along with these whataboutism arguments. I didn't bring it
No,
up. You guys brought it up.
Look, y'all bring it up, cuz.
She actually brought it up.
I'm not here to talk about
And my
intersex.
pronouns are he.
I'm not here to engage in whataboutism. I'm here to talk about this issue. This issue isn't about intersex kids.
All right, everyone, let's take a few. The evolution process.
Stereotypes? First of all, what does it mean for these kids to be trans? Just because they don't conform to stereotypes? Just because a girl's a tomboy, she's now an actual boy? That's totally insane.
Yeah.
The body positive message we should be sending is that there's no right way to be a boy or girl.
What do you think about that? Do you agree?
I agree with that.
Don't you think, or do you think that children, kids, we should make them wait till they're adults to make the decision of going through what he just talked about? Is that controversial of a stance?
I think it's controversial when you get to a point where parents want to control their kids. Like, essentially, you can say like, yeah, children can't consent, but at the end of the day, a mom could say it's my child.
Are they allowed to abuse their children?
Some people
But
may
here's the
not see it
thing.
as
Here's the
abuse.
thing. Here's the thing. If you want to counteract that, they just do the same thing you would do. Do the same thing as what you would do if like your child were to go to the military. Parents can't force their child to go to the military till they can't even force their child to go to the military. They can't. They can't go to the military till they're 18. Or at least enroll in the military till they're 18. So have it be the same thing. Like no matter what. Parents can't like if your child is under 18, no matter what you say, no matter if it's the child's choice, the parent's choice, guardian's choice, no matter what, they can't have it. They can't consent. They can't go to it. And that if that does happen, the the whole entire like medical staff is probably going to get fired, or at least the ones who were involved will get fired, and there'll be a major investigation. The clinic will probably get a major they rep will be destroyed to a point they had to shut down, or they had to clean everything off. Like they had to clean like the entire staff and stuff.
No, legally. I mean, are legally our parents, because it's their child, they're not allowed to do anything they want with their child. Is that correct?
We have to be honest about the reality of our life. Like a lot of things aren't fair, right? Like we can say, it's not a legal thing to do; it's abuse, right? But at the end of the day, it's some stuff that parents do that might not be right.
Right. And as a society, we do,
But
legislate like
if you try to put it in law, it would slow it down a lot bit. It would at least slow it down, cause it would at least slow it down. It would at least make it more of a. If it does happen, it's a crime. Then say it's something that is stupid. It's more if it
morality when
happens,
it
it's a
comes to you can't
crime.
beat your child, you can't murder people, you can't do all sorts of stuff, right?
Some stuff like this, yeah, it may be like some parents may be like, I agree with that, and some parents may, it's my child.
If parents say it's okay, and so they get the
Yeah.
puberty blockers, whatever they want, and then they decide later on that they regretted that. Is that your fear? Is that they're gonna decide that they made a mistake?
So
it's a good question.
My premise is that blocking puberty in children is child abuse. Parents do not have the right to abuse their children. They don't have the right to feed alcohol to their 10-year-olds, to start them smoking. They don't have the right to give them tattoos. But they have the right to now stop the healthy, normal physical development of a child who can't possibly understand what they're signing up for. That's child abuse.
What do you think about that? What do you think about what he's saying right there?
I disagree personally,
Okay.
but
And why is that?
With it, you disagree with this?
yeah.
Okay.
Do you mind if I ask why you disagree with what he just said right there?
I just feel like if if kids in general know inside of them that they don't conform with whatever, I feel like they should be able to.
Then the stereotype is off. The stereotype is because we have advanced, and this is probably I'm gonna go into what he's saying about stereotypes. We have advanced so much as a society and as humans, and our culture is that the stereotypes don't mean nothing at this point. It doesn't. We have women wrestling. I think it's what girls wrestling. Haven't got the football yet. At some points, it's football. Girls baseball. Look at all these sports that were 40, 50 years ago, mainly man driven. Now there's probably a league. There's mainly a league, not just professionally, but also throughout schools. That will have a girls league They'll have a girls' league in it. Like all that, and like we have progressed to that point, and it doesn't mean and the stereotypes are off. So what I'm trying to say is the stereotypes are outdated. So we shouldn't have to conform to that. We don't have to worry about that. It's simple.
Okay.
Make that decision for themselves and then face if they regret it, if they decide that it's not. I feel like they should be able to face the repercussions of that later
So
on.
this is the most important thing, and I want us to slow down here. If children don't conform, is what you said,
Yeah.
right? Beautiful.
Yeah,
It's beautiful. What's wrong with that?
Right.
My position is that there is no right way to be a boy or a girl.
Yeah.
I am a person with an intersex condition. What is my gender according to you? If gender is what is born in, what body you're born in.
Well, my expression is that there are two sexes, there are zero genders, and there are infinite personalities.
That makes a lot of sense, right? That's how it is. That's how it is. That's how it is. That's how the human is. There's two sex, man and woman. There's no genders, and there's a infinite personalities. Every person is different. You might be fucking laughing because you think it's stupid, but it's the tradition is the straight hard on facts. It's the hard facts. No paper. It's strictly the facts. You can deny it all you want, but when that baby comes out, there's only there's only two sexes that is gonna be. It's either gonna be a man, it's gonna be either a boy, or it's gonna be a girl. Simple, right?
Yeah, and I have about
That captures the entire population.
And
Now-
I have about 200 of them.
Now,
God bless.
you want to engage in this whataboutism. Every single child ever born with one of these disorders of sexual development is still male or female.
That's actually not incorrect.
Oh, really?
Yes, according to a professor
According
here.
to a professor here.
Oh,
Yes.
one of
What's
your
your-
professors. The fucking source might not be 100% right. It might not be right. Not gonna
Opinion on
cap.
the professionally developed gender dysphoria diagnosis in the DSM-5.
Yeah. So what does it say?
It
says that gender dysphoria starts with young children.
Yes.
It actually.
And what's going on today with all these adolescents? where
It
this
very
condition-
much does not. Have you
Okay.
read the DSM-5?
So if you ask me a question, would you like me to give the response, or would you just like?
I
shut
would
me
like
up?
you to respond with correct information.
Sure. So gender dysphoria is real. Traditionally, this affected 1 out of tens of thousands of children, not 1 out of tens like
It's
we
only
see today. And it starts young.
Once a 10.
And when you look at all the academic
I would
studies,
just like to know where you're getting your studies from. Because you
I've got a whole bunch on my website if you want to go
We can
look.
send them to you after the conversation.
Sorry, you can't cite yourself as an academic.
It's not myself. They're academic studies on my website. They're from PubMed or
What
wherever.
academic studies?
Go look. It's billboardchris.com.
I don't want to go to your website.
And I do want to say, just on the subject of, do parents have the right to abuse their children? And certain people will look at this in different ways. But we have medical authorities in Norway, Sweden, Finland, and England who have conducted systematic reviews of all of the evidence. Not politicians. These are the medical boards. And they found there is no evidence to support transitioning children. There's no evidence that it is improving their psychology or their happiness.
That's gonna hurt.
It's really just
Right.
causing irreversible harm. So I know there's a debate about whether this is child abuse or not. I'm very confident in 10 years' time, we will all look back at this and say, what the heck were we doing to kids?
Yes.
Sterilizing children.
Yes. Either that or it's gonna become the fucking norm. Like all the other stupid shit. Like the whole pride shit or the trans shit. Like all that shit. That could become the norm, like how gay is, trans is, pride is. all of that. Speaking of that, Pride Month has a rule with the rainbow for everybody. That's stupid. But like, it could either become the norm, or we can all shut it down, and we can look back at this and be like, "What the fuck are we think? What we're thinking? What the fuck were these people thinking?" I'd rather go with the option of we look back at it as his stupid face. He's that everybody was thinking was right. I'd rather go with that. But who knows? There's a lot of stupid people in this world. Have more fucking universities, half these things. Him, what is it? Institutionalized thoughts, and will she would and kick anybody out that has a different opinion, then shit ain't gonna look good. It ain't. It fucking ain't.
Children, they couldn't possibly understand what they're signing up for. So I firmly do believe that this is child abuse.
Yeah.
And I do believe eventually even the medical bodies in America, which are pretty ideologically captured at the moment, that they'll do away with this.
Last year, Cyber, we broke all these Fabletics sales records because of my irresistible offer. 20% off everything. That sounds off. It really does. Kevin Hart.
Hey, do not hit people's gear. What are you doing? You're wearing a sign that says "Don't engage" as you smack
As
the
you
camera.
engage.
Are you serious?
Do we need to call? Do I need to campus? Do I need to go? Do I need to call campus police?
No.
Okay, take your bike and get out of here.
Yeah.
There you go.
Need to get out of here.
Yeah.
What?
Get the off campus.
When we're ready. When we're ready.
So, how do you feel about this subject?
I feel like in 50 years from now, we're going to be looking back on it like we do with Bob.
Yeah, man.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah, that's what I was just.
Thank you so much for what you're doing.
I
I'm a high school student. I'm just visiting today, but
awesome.
God bless you. This is amazing.
Thank you so much.
Thank you so much.
Hey, I respect y'all too. I respect the positive engagement.
What makes it right for a law to say that certain children are forced to transition because the society doesn't like how they were born? But
No one's forcing anyone to transition.
Nobody's forced.
I was forced onto hormones at age 12. Nice try.
So, what the? Okay, why didn't you do? Okay, think it back. Think it back. You say you were forced, right? Then why don't you advocate to stop that shit? Especially if you didn't like that. You were forced on the horn.
Right. That is an extremely common thing that happens to intersex.
So, what's the name of your DSD?
Why do you think you have Eddie? Right? Yeah. You
Well,
don't-
she's talking about this.
My
She's making
pronouns
this
are
a
he,
subject
they.
of the conversation.
NCAH, also known as non-classical congenital adrenal hyperplasia.
Okay. So,
It's a disorder of sexual development. It is one that does not appear at birth. However, it is recognized as an intersex condition. It is akin to congenital adrenal hypoplasia, which is a normal intersex condition. It appears in infants with XX chromosomes and gives them ambiguous genitalia and hyperandrogenism.
I got you.
And it actually affects up to 5% of the traditionally female population.
So it impacted your estrogen production.
Yes.
So they gave you estrogen.
Yes.
Right.
Without my consent.
Okay, but you
Okay.
are female though, so they gave you estrogen.
So, okay, without your consent. But would it be, since they're giving you estrogen, that's for the female? Wouldn't that be a positive, right? Wouldn't that help your chances of having a child, go through puberty, all that shit? Would it? Because would it be a help? Right?
No.
Well, you are. You're XX. You're female. If you, as a little girl, were a tomboy, which half of women were, if you wanted to climb trees and play in the dirt, throw
Or
on a
if you're
football,
gay.
and play with the boys, you're a beautiful girl.
Right.
But this whole ideology, the flaw with this entire ideology from the outset, is that it teaches that it's things like the toys you play with that are a determining factor in your gender. And it's not just me saying this. I've got the doctor of the most prestigious gender clinic at the top-ranked children's hospital in the country, Boston Children's Hospital, talking about how it's things like a little girl trying to pee standing up, a little boy who doesn't want to get a haircut, playing with the opposite gender toys, or trying on a sibling's clothing. These are a sign your child is transgender. What the heck do toys?
What the fuck does that even mean? That doesn't mean like what he just listed off. That doesn't matter. That could, especially if it's a little kid. If it's just a little kid, they just try it out, cuz they might face out of it. They might not like that they wear and they siblings, they sisters dress or playing with their sisters' toys. They might not like it. What the fuck does that even mean? I know damn well it's a shit ton of, it's a bunch of guys that like My Little Pony. That don't mean shit.
Toys have to do with your gender.
We had a woman
That's
yesterday.
so regressive and sexist and ridiculous.
I just want to point out one thing that's really important in this conversation is the first word in the billboard.
Yeah.
The first word.
Yeah.
Children.
He's not telling people who are consenting adults, an 18-year-old. He's strictly talking about children.
Yeah. And non-conformity does not require a chemical castration drug.
My very good friend is someone who has complete adrenal insensitive syndrome.
All right.
Was born with female genitalia. Was born produces estrogen levels akin to that of women. Has XY chromosomes.
I'm still maybe I'm not tracking the conversation.
this
I'm
doesn't have
we got a
anything
little
to do
bit
with
off.
I'm trying to figure.
This is a
Okay,
common
for that
tactic trying to change the subject from
The reason
children who
puberty
don't
blockers
have disorders of
exist-
sexual development to intersex
No,
conditions.
it's called
Because
the
they can't
reason
actually
that-
discuss this subject
Okay, so
at hand. They have
let's.
to change
Can we?
the
Is
topic.
it possible to talk about this as opposed to
Yes,
something
because
else?
do you know why puberty blockers exist?
Yeah, I do.
Why were they made?
They were made to treat prostate cancer and then endometriosis and uterine fibroids in women. They've also been given to sex offenders to chemically castrate them. But they've never been approved for this purpose.
That is untrue.
Of course it's not.
So, really quick, what is the truth? Really quick, could you tell us the truth on it?
Well, that is a reason that puberty blockers were made. Puberty blockers are regularly used in conditions in which children develop early puberty. So when people
Yeah, they've been given to kids for precocious puberty.
Yes.
So precocious puberty is a condition where girls under the age of 8, boys under the age of 9 are entering into puberty. Again, this
And
is
you
a
know
what?
why those
Again, this is whataboutism. This has nothing to do with what I'm talking about.
Even
here.
then, that's just early puberty. Like what? Like that wouldn't matter that much, right? If you go into puberty a slightly bit early, like if it's like right off the birth, then like I'm like damn. But like even then, that shit doesn't make sense.
I'm not talking about
but
kids.
if children can't consent to puberty
If you could
blockers,
please
why
stop
can't
cutting me
they?
off, that would be wonderful. That's how we engage in a proper
Skipping
conversation.
puberty and delaying puberty would be much different.
I don't see how a child cannot consent to puberty blockers.
Do you think children can consent to sterilization?
Yes.
Okay.
Okay, consistent.
Do you think children
Okay.
can consent to throwing away their adult
Consistent
sexual function?
Yes.
At what age do you define
Consistently Delulu.
children?
Consistently Delulu. Huh?
If you're a child, no child under the age of 12 or 13 is going to be put on puberty
Of course they
blockers.
are.
The most
Of course they
a
are.
child that I would like to see your source.
You've done
with
no
someone-
research at all. Do you know when they give these? At 10 or stage 2. Do you know what 10 or stage 2 is?
Do you know what?
Do you know what 10 or stage 2 is?
Yes.
What is it?
It's when it's the second stage of sexual development.
And what age are these children?
That depends.
9, 10, 11? For
That's-
girls, this is when their breasts have first started to form. It's about 2 years before they've had their period. So for them, they're going to be like 9 or 10 years old. For boys, they're going to be about a year later. And the whole point of giving these kids these puberty blockers is so they don't enter into puberty, because that would be too traumatic. If I were to steelman your argument, it would be, well, we must give kids puberty blockers at the earliest possible opportunity. Otherwise, they would start to appear more like their sex, and then they won't pass as well when they're an adult, and this would be traumatic for them.
Okay.
So they give these to kids at 10 or stage 2. So that is 9 or 10 or 11
You think
years old.
that's too young?
Yeah, I mean, they still believe in Santa Claus at that age. You think I think that's totally fine for them to make that decision.
So a
as
second
child.
ago, it wasn't happening. Wait. A second ago, it wasn't happening that they were giving these 10-year-olds.
I
10
don't
seconds
agree
later,
that
it is happening and it's good. Is that your position?
I don't agree. You said a hypothetical, and that
It's not a
according
hypothetical.
to me, if everyone was given that, and okay.
You were denying that was happening, though. Why was that?
It isn't happening. You're putting words in my mouth.
I can show you a video right now from the president of WPATH, where he talks about all the boys who were given puberty blockers at 10 or stage 2.
If it were
have
happening,
never
would
had
that
an
be a bad
orgasm as
thing?
an adult.
Yeah, if it were happening, would that be bad?
That entirely depends on the context in which it's happening.
Are orgasms a medically necessary thing? Like, do we need them to happen?
Oh, so you think a 10-year-old can consent to not having any adult sexual function? Yeah, we'll back up a little. You think a 10-year-old can consent to throwing away adult sexual function?
Like, what do you want me to say to that?
The truth?
Speak what the fuck?
Depends on the.
Depends on the fucking nigga. Do 10-year-olds eat? When the fuck do you get the talk? When they get the fucking talk? Like 5th grade? Shit. They don't even get the talk. Like when I got the talk, I think I was like 5th grade. And that's like 12. No, like 11, 12. I was probably like almost like when do children learn about about 7 to 9 they learn about but that's about puberty. First gonna be basically about pubertal changes, but like yeah, about 5 to 7. But it's like you're not talking about the actual like stuff, like the stuff going on or the effects till about what 12. Like I had health class first semester, second semester freshman year, and I was 14. I think I had to talk or some sort of presentation about it 5th grade. So I was like 10. So like really I would say a fucking 10. Oh fuck no. No. I would say I wouldn't even that's one and then even then they wouldn't think about it. We wouldn't be thinking about it. We wouldn't think about it because we wouldn't be thinking about having children yet. So like what the fuck is the point? Like what would be the point of like doing this
A
shit?
10-year-old.
Depends on the person.
Oh
Not
my
everybody
gosh.
wants sex.
But there's another issue here. This isn't 1 out of 10 or 20 or 30,000 anymore. It's 300,000 kids in the United States have been diagnosed with gender dysphoria. Those are official diagnoses for like insurance purposes. This has exploded. We've seen in the last 10 years approximately a 4,000% increase, or 40 times, in the amount of kids who didn't have gender dysphoria growing up, but get into adolescence and now have it. We call this rapid onset.
Or is it awareness about the issue?
So we call this rapid onset gender dysphoria, and today it's primarily affecting girls, not boys. And there's one article I would love you to read.
Transmasculine people.
So there's one article I would love you to read. It's by Jamie Reed, R-E-E-D, and she was the case manager at the Washington University Transgender Clinic for the last 4 years. She wrote for the Free Press, and she submitted an affidavit to the Attorney General of Missouri. This is a woman who calls herself a queer woman. She says she's politically left of Bernie Sanders, and she's married to a trans man. So this is not some conservative. This is a woman who went there to help trans kids. She wrote this scathing report where almost all of these kids, she admits, have other mental health comorbidities going on. Some of them are coming straight from the psychiatric
Bro, who decided to play Halo Now 6?
unit. A lot of them have suffered abuse, sexual abuse, or trauma, and they don't get treated for any of this. They just get affirmed only, and on their very first appointment, they're getting puberty blockers across sex hormones.
Wait, I'm kind of confused. Sorry, I'm like kind of lost right
It's
now.
okay. It's
That's
okay.
all right.
It's complicated.
All I'm really saying is a lot of the times these kids have other things going on. They're struggling. Do you remember being 10 years old?
No, because
I
of
do.
severe trauma. Because of people like
I do.
What the fuck? She now trauma dumping. I'm not even gonna care. She's gonna start trauma dumping. That's stupid.
Yeah.
I remember being 10. I was old enough to know a lot about real world problems. You know why?
A little bit.
Why?
The first time I tried to kill myself, I was 10 years old. The first time I got sent to treatment, I was 10 years old. The second time I got sent to treatment, I was 15. I was in treatment for 2 years. Actually, about like 4 years of my life were spent in treatment, in and out of treatment facilities.
Okay, that's mental issues. But okay, that's mental issues. Mental issues. What is it? Mental health, depression. Does puberty blockers, the whatever that trans surgery stuff, all that does not mean nothing. That doesn't mean nothing, bro. Like legitimately, it doesn't mean absolutely nothing. Cause like especially if if it was like you got like abused, that you had to get treatment, you had to go to therapy, counseling, something. You like, of course, if you bottle it down and don't tell nobody, you can eventually pop off. Let your emotions get the best of you and do something bad.
I have a question for you.
Or have all this
Child
baggage
needed
on
an
it.
emergent appendectomy, and you
See, this is all
And-
they have is whataboutism.
and
Do you know what a logical fallacy
Can
is?
you please
Yeah,
stop?
What is a
yeah,
log-
yeah. Because I heard a lot of logical fallacies in the 4 videos I watched. A lot of insulting, a lot of being emotional, no evidence, nothing.
Interrupting me?
What is a logical fallacy?
You are talking
I am
first.
talking. I am
It's a
literally
total waste
talking.
of time.
Oh my
You want to
God.
make this about appendicitis now.
But you rely on the medical professional
That's a
to
medical
make...
condition.
Oh
Is
my
pu-
God.
Is
And
puberty a medical
intersexism
condition?
and gender dysphoria?
Is puberty a medical condition?
Yes.
Natural puberty.
I can't. I can't. I can't. These is this the next generation of doctors? Because if it is, if this is our next generation, we're fucked. We're fucked. God damn. Shit. Y'all lost me.
Puberty is a medical
Yes,
condition.
it is because it is a
fucking-
medical process.
It's a natural process that happens to everyone. It's a natural process that happens to everyone. Like,
Puberty is a medical process.
Yes, it is.
How so?
Because it relies on chemicals to help.
Is
the
breathing
child.
a medical process?
Yes.
Is your heart beating a medical process?
Yes.
He's just straight the Lulu, bro. Just straight the Lulu. Oh, bro. Straight the
think
Lulu.
Everything's a medical process.
I think what you mean is a biological process.
And what field of study does medicine
No.
take place
So
in?
are you using the word? Are you using the
Oh
word
my God.
biology as a synonym to the word medicine?
This is about making lifelong decisions to alter your body, to sterilize yourself, to throw away your future adult sexual function. And we expect 10, 11, and 12-year-olds to be able to make this decision. You know what I mean?
It's a very hard conversation for sure. Like,
Well, thank you for being here and
Yeah,
having
thank
it, by
you,
the way.
thank you.
Yeah.
Do you think that there's a prescribed opinion or a narrative or a set of opinions that you feel either from your faculty or fellow students or the administration that you should have?
No, not. I feel like faculty, especially, I think, because one of my English teachers, she's very like into stuff like this that talks about, essentially stuff that in the future we really have to sit down and think like, is this a good thing for our future, our future kids and stuff like that. So it's a situation where everybody has their own opinion. It's not something where we have to have an argument about it.
Yeah, there's a proposed narrative along faculty, and as far as it pertains to this. I know it's not an exact question, but you just said, is there a kind of yeah. So yeah, there is.
And what is? Thank you for saying. What is that now?
And I actually want to jump in really quick. I think one indication of that there is an approved narrative on campus is the fact that people can walk by, protest, laugh, stuff like that. But every single person that's been in support has been quiet, walked by, agreed, left. So,
and said, I don't want to be on camera.
And said, I don't want to be on camera. So back to Peter's question, what is the narrative?
Yeah.
Well, just for instance, I'm a PR major, which is public relations. It's a lot like marketing, and I have to take a gender studies course, and it's it's all about these issues.
Gender studies course. So you have to take a course on leftist ideology. Are they selling it as fact, or are they selling it as ideology?
They're selling it as fact.
Okay.
Yeah, they're selling it as fact.
I
And it
just
has
wanna get
nothing to
this
do with marketing.
a little louder.
What the? Wait a second. He's a PR person, so like management and shit. What the fuck do we need a gender? A genders class? Like what? What the fuck? They say it's for failure, cause dude, no, what the fuck? I swear, if I get, cause I'm just going into business for college. I'm going to be focusing on business as my college major, and I think business management. If I get like a gender of these classes, bro, if I get one of those classes, bro, I'm not gonna lie, I'm probably not gonna learn nothing from that. Especially if it's like views like that, where it's like all extreme shit, or like the crazy stuff like that. I'm not gonna learn nothing, bro. Like, I'm just gonna I'm gonna actually study my shit. I'm not learning nothing from it because it's all probably not facts.
So you're studying PR.
Yeah.
You have to take gender studies.
Absolutely have to take it.
Gender
And you know what?
studies is crazy.
Of course, like you should respect people and do it, but I don't know why I have to spend all these hours each week in this course. Some of the stuff is okay, like all right, interesting. Some of the stuff is out there, it's outlandish.
What they're teaching you, are they saying that it's fact?
Yes. I'm
That's
a
fucking-
PR major, and it has absolutely nothing to do with PR. I get being respectful and learning about, but it's out there.
Are you hearing what he's saying? And do you agree with him?
I mean, it's essentially what I said. Like everybody has their own opinion and kind of lays it on you as like
A little bit different than what you said, though, because he's saying there's more systemic approved narrative on campus. Do you see that or no?
I would say in my field, no, because there's no room for it.
But so he interfaces with the public as
Right.
part of his,
Yeah,
right? Is that correct? I don't
Yeah,
put words in
correct.
your mouth.
Yeah. It's a lot like marketing, and I'm in this class now. It's at 8 a.m. So
Oh,
hard way to-
he is. I know. Well, I know he is not wanting to pay attention to the class. Like he's just keeping the grade up. He's not even caring about the class. He's just keep the grade up.
start the morning.
How?
What if your child is telling you I really, really, really want this for myself, deeply, and it's not something that's I feel like
So-
comparing it to alcohol or drugs or something
Great
that
question.
it's different because
it's a great question.
it doesn't it's not as dangerous if you do it with the right doctors and the right people, and you can.
Here's the thing. What I think I emphasized this a lot in the first episode. When I watched the first two episodes, having a conversation with your child and trying to help the child and to speak to the child, get the child's help. If they feel like they're in the wrong body, you have to try to help them. You try to talk to them. This option of puberty blockers, putting hormones in them, is an option that is the last option, if that's even an option. My opinion, it's not an option. It's not, because that could destroy the chance of having a child. It could it might not even help them out mentally, and it could, if all else fails, could hurt them mentally. So that's why I'm not.
You can do it safely, and so
So let me address that.
Wait, so like once they do that and they become super happy and they feel like that's what they want, it doesn't really affect. Oh, sorry.
No, it's okay.
It doesn't really affect like anyone else, really, besides them.
We have studies, academic studies, into gender dysphoria going back decades. So gender dysphoria is this condition, it's this intense loathing of your biological sex. Historically, it affected boys much more than girls. 1 out of tens of thousands, depending on the time period, maybe 1 out of 30,000. And all the academic studies point to the exact same results, which is that more than 80% of the time, these children with severe gender dysphoria from a very young age that persisted into adolescence, that when they went through puberty, it desisted. They grew out of it.
What percentage is that?
The most recent study, and one of the most thorough ones, followed 139 boys from the age of like 5 all the way into their 20s. 87.8% of them grew out of it. 63.6% grew up to be gay.
Okay, so what about the ones that didn't grow out of it?
That's a good question.
So,
you got a good one. Yeah,
as
that's
an
a good
adult,
question.
this is a different conversation. If they want to do something to their body as an adult, I wish them all the best.
Okay.
But when 90% of kids are going to grow out of it, we're going to now sterilize these kids.
You look like a.
Why do you want to mutilate and sterilize kids?
So I don't. I'm saying you look
No,
like.
do you have an argument for this?
No.
No, you have nothing intelligent.
No,
to
I'm
say.
just saying, no, I don't.
So why are you insulting him then?
Because he just looked like a.
You just do that to random people?
Yeah, sometimes.
Even if you agree with them, maybe?
Oh, I don't agree with that.
What is your evidence for your position?
I didn't take a position.
Well, you just said you didn't agree with it.
No, I said I.
You just took a
You
position.
literally
Yeah,
said.
okay, you're right. I did. I don't agree with that.
Okay.
Not in relation to him looking like.
Okay.
But
Well,
you think we
what
should sterilize kids?
what is it that
No.
you disagree
Well,
with
that's
about
what these are
this?
doing.
I don't want to get into that right now, just
But that's-
because
that's what
I.
that's
You don't
what-
want to have
yes.
discussion
I don't
about
wanna
subject
have
because you
a
know
conversation.
absolutely nothing about
Yes.
it.
That's correct.
Yes.
Yeah. So then you go to insults because that's what you've
Because
been
you don't
taught
have
here on
evidence.
campus?
Do you have any
No.
evidence for
No,
your
no,
position?
no, not on campus. No,
Jeez. That's rough.
I don't even have parents, bro.
Sorry to hear that.
Always this trigger word, safe. Stay safe, as though there's something inherently violent about words.
Cheese.
All right, everyone, that is it for today.
They just took a picture in front of their haters, bro. Nah, they really are fans. They really are fans. They really came out to support you, bro.
Okay, so we had a handful of interesting conversations. Let me know what you guys thought about these conversations down in the comment section below. Gentlemen, we'll go Chris first. What did you think about today?
Outstanding. We had so many great conversations, and we've started 1,000 more conversations. So that's the best part of the day, and it was pretty peaceful.
Yeah. Peter, what do you think?
Chris summed it up absolutely perfectly. I think that the people who came out to protest, I encourage that behavior. It was great. We had a lot of people with sincere questions who came.
Yeah.
And I think Chris is, again, absolutely correct that this kind of whatever it is that you call what we're doing, raising consciousness is going to start more questions, and then the whole spiral of, hey, well, why is that the case? Can children consent to puberty blockers?
Creating 1,000 more conversations. You guys, thank you so much for watching the video. If you enjoyed it, please hit that like button. Make sure to subscribe for more videos and hit that bell notification button so you're notified next time I post. Wait, really quick. Chris, where can people find you on social media?
At Billboard Chris on Instagram, and Twitter is where I do everything.
Awesome. And Peter?
At Peter Bogosian, PeterBoghossian. Thanks.
But you think it's fine to stop other boys from going through puberty? You think they should grow up to have a micropenis for life?
I think having a micropenis, that's some people's issue.
Well, that's what happens when you
they
put kids on
have.
puberty blockers. Did you know that?
I don't know if that's true or not. I don't know. I don't.
What do you think
I'm not
puberty
taking anybody's
blockers do?
word on anything.
So you know nothing
right
about
here.
this, right?
No, that's what I'm
You
saying.
know absolutely
That's
nothing.
what I'm saying. This sign has nothing to do with me coming over and calling you.
You just said you disagree with the sign.
Yes, I do disagree with it.
So tell us why.
I have a backed up position on it, which I can't give you right now.
Okay, so then you just why not just say I don't know rather than saying I disagree.
Oh, I don't know.
Oh,
That's fair enough.
That's totally
Okay, that's
reasonable.
fair.
That's a totally reasonable position.
Yes, yeah. So that's what I'm saying. Is I don't know. I'm saying you being out here with these signs doing this is making you look like a
Okay.
Okay.
That's all I'm saying.
Cool.
All right. Well, have a great one. Enjoy yourself.
Appreciate it. Have a good one.
Thanks, guys.
Thanks, guys. Thanks for
Found
saying
it.
hello.
Hey guys,
Appreciate
enjoy
you.
yourselves. Have a great
Thanks for
field
saying
trip.
hello.
Have a
Thanks,
great
bro.
field trip.
Thank you for saying hello.
Hey guys, I gotta give you a quick message.
I'm so sorry. No, we're not. My students need to go.
Oh.
We gotta get back to
It's always the adults who want to censor
Oh,
things,
come
right?
on. Oh, man.
That's okay. At least your kids know what biological reality is.
She was not happy. She was
Say,
not happy.
Stop freeing their
Honestly,
minds.
Peter,
Yeah.
I said this the other day. It's going to take the children to lead a lot of the adults out of this.
Yeah,
Aye.
big time. I mean, I know we mentioned social media before, but a lot of it is also those adults. He says it wrong.
So
Adults keeping these children down,
I think
keeping these
that-
children down,
I
and pushing
think-
their ideology on
So
them.
I think this is great with them holding that sign. I think this was a democracy.
Absolutely.
I think that everybody's entitled to hold any sign that they want.
Absolutely.
You know what? The counter protesters, they're telling us that we're loved. Actually, these are the nicest counter protesters ever, if I'm being honest.
I can appreciate that.
And I
Thank
do
you.
appreciate that. Thank
I
you.
appreciate that too.
Thank you.
Thank you. Since
Thank
my
you for that.
parents died, almost no
Um,
one tells me that except my dogs.
Oh
so
my
thank you.
gosh. Peter's getting dark over here.
Not gonna lie. It was basically entertaining. I'm not even gonna cap, especially like they were entertaining. Obviously, full of stuff to talk about. So yeah, I think the there's one in New Jersey, so I would check that out. Not now, but probably whenever I get back to stream, because this thing. I think I'm done for the year. I'm not gonna cap. I think I am done with content for the year, or at least done with content for at least till Christmas. Because guess what? I got school, I got basketball, and I got finals. So I gotta focus on that. So yeah, I think all streaming, even production on videos might be cut short a little bit. Or at least slowed down like a ton. So yeah. Hope y'all had a great Thanksgiving too. Thanksgiving was decent for me. I'm not even gonna lie. It's pretty good. Food was great. I'm not even gonna cap. So yeah, I hope you guys have a great day, evening, night, morning, whatever it is. Hope y'all have stay safe out there. It's getting cold out there, so yeah. Got to warm up here. Yeah. Hope you guys like this video. Subscribe if you're new to the channel, bro. Subscribe, cuz. Also, like the video and comment down below what your favorite part of the video was or your opinions on today's stream. As always, check out the social media links down in the description. The original video links are down on there too. So, yeah. As always, I'll see y'all in the next video. Peace out. Bye. I'm out. Peace. We a nation.